Welcome to After School with Mr. Van Huss, episode 16. Today I get to sit down with somebody who once sat in these desks right behind me. He was one of my former students, and I was really blessed to have this guy go through my class. I've watched him continue a music career past high school and college, and a couple of years ago he was a contestant on The Voice as part of Team John Legend. I am so happy today to welcome to After School with Mr. Van Huss, Mr. David Andrew. Welcome to After School with Mr. Van Huss. Today I'm here with David Andrew. David, how's it going?
Everything's going good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. You are the first person I've had on my little show here that was actually one of my students. I had Cole Ritter earlier, and Cole went here to station camp, but Cole was never in my class. So you're the first person I've had that actually went through my class to be here. So welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
So for anybody watching who may not know who David Andrew is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I graduated from station camp in 2015, and I have just always been super passionate about music. Like the shortest, I guess, condensed version of my background is I am a singer-songwriter. I'm most known for being on The Voice back in 2022. My years are kind of mixed up. I'm like, it's already 2024, and that was now 2 years ago. I was on team. Yeah, it's so weird. But I was on Team John Legend. I have sang behind some of the greatest artists like ever, from Ed Sheeran to country music people like Kane Brown and Mickey Guyton and a buttload of other people. And I'm just super passionate about music. And I've always been the type of person who has had a dream to want to do stuff like this. And I mean, nothing really in my life has ever been easy, I guess you would put. I mean, being in the music industry for anybody is not easy, but I've always been just a fighter and have always passionately gone after what I desire. And so I'm happy with what I've done, and I'm excited for all the things that I want to do in the future as well. And yeah, I think that's the condensed version of my life.
So when you were on The Voice, I remember I was watching live because I knew you were going to be on there. So I was kind of watching for you. And John Legend turned around, and who else turned around?
So it was John Legend and Gwen Stefani.
Okay. So that's two heavy hitters right there. And with all due respect to Gwen Stefani, because I was jamming out the No Doubt when I was in high school. So with all due respect to her, when I was watching that, I was screaming at the television, David, pick John Legend, pick John Legend. I was going crazy because I knew, like, from when I had known you in high school and just heard you sing before, I thought, oh my goodness, there's so much you could learn from John, because you guys are just like right there, parallel with each other. So I was so excited for you. It was just awesome.
Thank you. No, what's crazy is a lot of people were expecting for me to choose him, but if you would have asked me the day before or just any time before, because I feel like any of these singing competitions, you have to come into it with a plan. And I thought originally it was going to be too cliche for me to pick him if he turned for me. And so that was not in the plan. It was literally on the spot. I just felt like the moment was right, and like everything that he said, which there were a lot of things that were said that wasn't, shown on the air, but I was like, I feel like the moment is pulling me to John. So, I mean, I don't regret it. It was seriously just nerve-wracking and amazing at the same time, but crazy. So, yeah.
That's very cool. What was it that like first influenced you to want to be a singer? Was there any like certain one thing, or has it just kind of always been there?
So I think it does go back to the whole sing competition thing, because Kimberly Locke, she's family friend, mentor, I guess you would say as well. She was on American Idol, and she ended up getting third place on season two. So that was like 2004, 2005. It was right after I moved to Tennessee. And like just watching her go from the person that was at my church who like sang in the choir with me and just seemed so cool, to like this like amazing vocalist who's killing it on like a sing competition. And like American Idol back then was a whole different story than just singing competition world now. So Yeah, I was just like entranced by her journey, and that she I think was like the alpha of me wanting to want to do music. And so that's why I think it is kind of funny that my actual start as a solo artist was on a singing competition, because that really has been always what I've wanted. And it took a lot, because I mean, a lot of people see the big moment on the screen. You make it to the audition and all the auditions before that happen to it, and you have this cool thing where these judges turn for you. But that was my ninth time auditioning for a singing competition in general. So it took a lot, and I kept on getting a lot of almost situations. Like I would try out and I would make it through all these different rounds and then get to that almost part to where I'm about to be on TV and this moment might happen, and then something would block me from it. And so it's a lot of perseverance, it's a lot of self-belief, and then it's, I mean, you go through the doubt things too. So like I had to um just mentally prepare myself for it all. But I I'm really grateful just for the journey in general. Because I don't think I would be the person and artist that I am right now without the ups and downs of going back and forth with everything.
So I know you mentioned Kimberly Locke, but who are some of your other heroes growing up that you kind of wanted to be like?
Yeah, oh my God. Kim, other than her, ooh, that's such a hard question.
So many good ones to choose from.
Yeah, like oh man, I really I don't know if I can put my name put a name on just one specific person or a couple of different people, but literally I was the biggest American Idol fan. So season after season, watching all of them, from the Kelly Clarksons to the Fantasias to um David Archuleta, like all of them. I think I was just like watching people's journeys go from, the small town thing to becoming something so cool. I think I was just entranced by that whole, even Lauren Elena, oh my gosh. 'Cause I want to say that was around the time I was in high school. I was obsessed with her. I mean, it didn't it wasn't a specific genre that I was like, it's all these people that's in this world. I was just like entranced by the story.
Very cool. So I know a little bit of the answer to this next question, but I want other people to hear it. What was high school like for you? And what further education did you do?
Yeah, so high school was one of my favorite schooling experiences, in comparison to just like middle school. And elementary school was dope. Like I felt like I was on a path of learning who I was, and just me as an artist in general. But I don't know, I feel like I didn't really become super confident in the person that I am until college. I went to college at Belmont University. And that's also kind of funny because I talked about Kimberly Locke, and she also graduated from Belmont before she went on American Idol. So went to college at Belmont, and I majored in commercial music with a music business emphasis. So it's definitely a performance and a business degree combined. And I did everything at Belmont. So I think the highlights of that experience was probably winning the Christian Music Showcase, which is like this huge. There's four different showcases at Belmont, and it's a huge kind of deal because it's a long process and a bunch of auditioning as well. And the judges in this case are like industry people, record label executives, all those types of people. So I did that, and that kind of kickstarted me in kind of being in the right mindset going forward with where I was going with my career. I feel like this whole music industry, yeah, there are times where you audition for things, but it's a lot of who you know. And so many of the opportunities that I've had have been because it's someone who just knew that I'm good at background vocals and all this kind of stuff, and they just call me up. And so um, I've just really tried to make sure through high school, through college, through just all the different things that I've done to just stay connected to people and not also to treat it as if like I want to keep relationship with you because I know you can give me something. But um building relationships in general. And then when the time comes, if they're interested, they call you for whatever they need. So, but in terms going back to high school, your question, and I don't say this because we're on this Zoom together, but literally being in your class and hearing just like the different stories of you in the music industry, that inspired me because I mean, like, yeah, I was in chorus and I did theater as well, but like hearing people's real experiences within the industry, which you were far few, in terms of teachers that have done things that really pushed me to just be more confident within myself. And I thank you for that. Thank you for sharing like your journey because it was your class was just seriously amazing.
Well, I really appreciate that. I was about to ask you if you had a favorite teacher or mentor, and you kind of answered that already.
Yeah.
Was there anybody else that kind of like pushed you along?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Mr. Collins. I had him as a choir teacher in elementary school, and so to circle back around and have him in high school was amazing. And he also just was just super supportive and um, just a good ear to run different questions I had, especially going through my Belmont journey and auditioning for that. I mean, he was awesome. The late Mr. Collins, miss him, rest in peace.
Can I tell you my favorite David story from high school?
Oh God, sure.
It's a good one. There's always like every year there's a handful of students who really catch my attention that I, get close with and stuff, and I try to help. And like you were always one of those. Like I thought the world of you when I had you in class, and I saw what a hard worker you were, and I saw how much you cared. And I would have bet money that you would do something, and you would do something like this because I knew you had that drive and that passion. Um, I remember one year we were taking the EOC. So this is probably US history junior year, something like that.
Okay.
And I remember you were a meticulous test taker. Okay. And I
That's
mean
true.
that as a compliment, like you took your time and you got it right. And I wish there were more
Mhm.
students like that. But I remember we were in the cafeteria because it's all changed now and it's all on iPads and stuff. But back then it was still old school. Like, you're writing on a piece of paper and like there's like a couple hundred people like in the cafeteria spread out and you're all taking this test. And I remember you were the last one done. Okay.
That's probably
And
true.
I was okay with that because you were in my class and I was like, I want him to do as best as he can, and you were working on it. Did you have me twice? Did you have me for history and government?
I think I
Maybe.
did. Yeah,
It seems like it. All the
I'm
years
pretty
start
sure.
running together after all, but I feel
Yeah.
like we did. So you were taking it, and I remember everybody else was done. And I mean, I was kind of standing around observing everything, and I knew you were still working. So I was, I had your back and I was kind of watching out and stuff. And I remember there were a lot of people that were around you that were just kind of like, looking. You didn't
Yeah.
care.
You
You were
still
doing your
testing?
thing. You were doing your thing. And then I'll never forget, and I totally mean this as a compliment, but I'll
Yeah.
never forget you got done and everybody was like, okay. And then you flip back to the start to check it and make sure you had it. And I remember there were people like, oh, and I was like, that a boy, David, that's how you do it. And I was so proud of you. And like back then, I knew you would have it because it didn't matter. All these other people were just wanting to get finished and you were there doing your best. So I knew you had what it took to get this far. And I would have
That
bet on you back then. So it was
that
great.
means a lot. No, it's funny because I was always the slow test taker, not for like any particular reason of just I don't know, I was just kind of slow with things. And also I want to make sure I'm like understanding everything the correct way and I'm getting it right. And I think my parents really taught me to because I mean, I think I remember that and I remember my friends blasting me for taking so long. But like I just learned to not care what people thought. Um, even though it's easy to get caught up in the noise, just like focus on your journey, do your thing, everything's gonna be fine. So, I mean, kudos to my parents for just helping me to have the right mindset for those situations.
Absolutely. And any of those kids that were going to say something really mean, they were going to have to go through me first to get to you, so it was okay.
Period. Period.
So
Yes.
here you've got the ear of some high school students, okay? You've got the ear of young people. What is one life lesson that you've learned that you would pass on to the next group that's coming up?
Yeah, I feel like that's super easy for me. And it kind of goes along with your story. I think, hmm, how do I say this? I remember specifically in middle school being so passionate about music, and I was involved in everything in terms of singing, and I was also one of like the only guys who was interested in music, and that wasn't weird to me, but it was weird to other people. And I think it was weird to other people because I wasn't at the time into sports. I think I did try to push myself to audition for, not audition, oh my gosh, try out for the basketball team.
Same
And
musician
I
frame of
did,
mind. I was always right there too.
and I was like, not audition. Um, and I literally, I barely even knew the game. And I tried to get, I remember because I tried to, get out of the tryout. I had like one of my friends sneak into the locker room to text my mom to try to like just come and pick me up early. And the basketball coach at the time did not let me leave. Like, and I did not make the team, of course. It was terrible. And that was my one time of trying to do something that I really wasn't passionate about, but I was just trying to appease other people around me, not necessarily my family, but like just the people at my school. I felt like, oh, to fit in, I need to do this or do that when that wasn't what I was passionate about. And what I learned and what I've learned from my entire journey is to, again, not, yes, you can take advice. Yes, you can grow and learn from other people, but don't let anyone stop you from what you're passionate about. Yes, everybody's journey is different. Sometimes it's easier for others. Sometimes we go through life things and, it's just, life can be hard. But I've just learned to trust my path, trust my journey, trust God, and know that even if things don't happen the way I necessarily plan it out to be, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And just as long as I am focused on me, then I'm going to be fine. And so, I mean, I take that with me even now. I mean, I've done The Voice, I've done, all these other things, and I have so many other goals in the future. And I know it's not going to be easy. I know there's so much work to be done to achieve everything that I want to do. But just as long as I stay true to myself and don't get too caught up in other people and their own journeys, I can be successful. So that's what I would say. Just stay focused on your paths and you will be fine.
Well, David, my friend, I am cheering for you. I am praying for you. I'm doing whatever I can to keep cheering you on and really rooting for you no matter what it is you do. So just always know you've got me in your corner cheering just as loud as I possibly can wherever you're at.
Thank you so much, Mr. Van Huss. I appreciate you.
And thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk to me and share some of your wisdom and the great experiences you've had so far. I greatly appreciate it. I know my students will appreciate it too.
I hope so. I wish I was like still in your class. It was such a time. Do you still play the music, like introduce like the different music stuff at the beginning of class?
I do. I still play like a lot of music, like in between class. I still do this day in history. I do like
Mhm.
a lot of the same stuff that when you were still here.
I love it.
If it's
I
not
love it.
broke, don't fix it, right?
You got that right.
Well, buddy, it was great talking to you. Thanks for staying after school with Mr. Van Huss.
Awesome. Thank you so much. See you guys.